Hello, this week you read about classroom management and assessment, and I thought I would just take a few minutes and show you what it would be like in the real world, like how I handled it in a real PE class. Now, keep in mind, this is what I used for middle school because that's what I ended up teaching at the end of my career, but this would work in high school also. I've taken some of the slides that I used when I first introduce physical education to my students, like the first day of school when we went over expectations and so forth. So I'll just use some of the PowerPoint slides and go over sort of what I told them in management of class and assessment. We had three basic rules, play hard, play fair, play safe, but because we were a PBIS school, we decided to make the initials of our rules be PBIS. So we changed it to play hard, be fair, include everyone, and stay safe. So those were just the four rules or expectations we had for the students. So that's what we would tell them. So play hard just meant do the very best you can. No excuses. Don't give up. If you're not liking the sport or the activity we're doing that day, you're probably going to like tomorrow. Or if you don't like this unit specifically, maybe you'll like next unit. Just play hard every day. Do the best you can. When we say be fair, we're saying we need to have teamwork, we need to have good sportsmanship, we don't want to cheat when there's rules in the game that we're playing. It's not fun to play against somebody that's cheating, so we just go into all the things that make being fair. And include everyone, real simple. All these are really simple for students to understand what they mean. So if somebody isn't picked for a team, which I don't really pick teams, like I don't let them pick teams, I pick teams. Make sure everybody's included. If somebody's feeling down or not made a mistake or something, cheer them up, include them in what's going on. And our last one was staying safe. So sort of just a few things here on this slide. We talked about not bullying each other, standing up for their friends, following directions, all those kinds of things to be safe in the classroom while we're outside, when we're in the locker room, just staying safe both physically and mentally during class. And then we just would go over the consequences of not following one of those rules or expectations. And those four questions down there just were for us to ask the student. Sometimes we would have it so they would have a piece of paper and they'd write out their answers, sort of like in their timeout, so that we could continue to teach our class, but also so that they could still be thinking about what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing. Are they doing that? And what are they going to do about that so that they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? I would then explain to my students how they were going to be assessed, or as they would say, graded. And we'd go over the parts, the different parts. Like they weren't just graded on one thing. Like I know I've heard some people say, well, I never dressed out for PE and that's why I failed. Well, dressing out for PE is not the thing that you are grading your students on. So what we did, or what I did, well, we as a department, of course, 20% of their grade was on their fitness testing. So, you know, the FitnessGram with all the different tests that they have, we would test them quarterly on those FitnessGram tests, and any written assignments we might have done, we also put them in there, and that was 20% of their grade. And we always told them that the more you write, the better you'll become at writing. And so that's why we had writing assignments, even though it was physical education. And yes, it's hard to do writing assignments when you're out there on the field, but there are actually, I have used apps, phone apps with their cell phone so that they can take written tests, but actually on their cell phone. So they're not writing per se, but they are using words in a written kind of format to do the assignment, and I don't have to worry about pens and paper flying away, and no one brought their pencil to write with, or they couldn't do their assignment because they're waiting for somebody else to finish with the pencil so they could borrow their pencil. I just had them do it on some apps that I used when I was doing some kind of written assignment. And then they had 20% of their grade was on their running. Every week we would do either the pacer or the mile run. And sometimes we would do every week we would do a running of some kind. We did the pacer, the mile run, and the jog walk. So every Friday we do a jog walk. And then every other week we do the pacer one week and the mile run the next week. So there was they were always doing cardio, and it was 20% of their grade what they got on those tests. And so we looked at what the Fitnessgram said about the pacer, how many laps they should be doing in the pacer, and we would say, okay, to get an A, you had to do this much more than what was required of their age group, and so forth. So that's how we did grading for that. And then we did the same thing with the mile, and we did the same thing with the walk run. They did a 25-minute walk run, and however many laps they did, that would be their grade depending on what we had determined would be depending on how big the laps were. So like if it was just a lap around the track, I believe you had to do at least 5 laps around the track in 25 minutes to get a passing grade. And then you would get a B or a C above, or a B or an A above that, depending on how many more laps you did. And we had that all figured out. And it started off lower at the beginning of the year, and then it went higher. They had to do more laps to get a better grade as the year progressed, because we wanted them to get better as they progressed through the year. And then, of course, they did written and skills tests. So after every unit, we would test them on the rules and give them a skills test over whatever it was that we were doing that for that unit. And then 40% of their grade was social responsibility, and this is something that we did every day. So dressing out, following directions, having good sportsmanship, not being mean to other people, not bullying. Those were all things that we added into their social responsibility grade, and that was something I did every day. They got a grade every day for social responsibility. Unlike the running, they only got a grade for that once a week, and for the written tests, they would only get that once a unit, and for their Fitnessgram testing, they'd only get that once every quarter. But social responsibility was every day. So that's just a really brief overview of what I would do in the real world teaching a physical education class. Hope you learned something from that. If you have any questions about anything that I did, if you need me to go into detail about something that you were interested in learning more about, just let me know. I will help you out with that.